Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1973 AMC Hornet. Up front is a 4.2 liter inline six and down below is a 3-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this AMC Hornet for two reasons. First of all, it is incredibly well kept. It is an all original car. That means all original paint, all original interior minus the headliner, all original factory options here in the Hornet. But the second reason is the fact that I have never driven an AMC product here on the channel. I've gotten close with the AM General postal Jeep that I drove, but never a true AMC. And so today I'm finally amending that and driving my first ever AMC. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 258 inline six under the hood. I always say liters just to keep everything sort of plain and simple and easy to compare, but this is known as the 258 inline six. It is of AMC design, and it's actually a decent engine because this was a little bit better of an engine than the base model. This car is spec'd in a really interesting way where it got the hopped up engine and was the coupe, but then it had basic features in here like a factory radio delete and no clock. So very, very interesting there, starting off with the engine. Now, like I said, paired to it is a torque command 3-speed automatic. AMC was really having fun with that jargon back in the day, calling it a torque command. It's fine, it's doing the job, it's a 3-speed. Sometimes it'll get a little confused turning, but it's also over 50 years old, so I'd imagine I'd get pretty confused too. Last but not least, the AMC Hornet is rear-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive an AMC Hornet? Well, the first thing you'll notice is the steering. According to the owner, it's about 7 turns side to side. It is not only vague, but it's just a really long turning radius. Oh my God. Taking a minor curve in the road, you're almost going hand over hand. However, on the opposite side, the visibility is fantastic, the throttle is decently responsive, the transmission is good, and the ride quality is what I would expect out of a more basic automobile from 50 years ago. So in that respect, it's fine, but this steering is taking a little bit of getting used to. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges. And there's air quotes there. Off to the left is my fuel and coolant temperature. In the center is my speedometer. And then off to the right is nothing. Here is where the clock would go. Or if you got the hopped up V8 version in 1970 or 1971, you would get a tachometer here. But because it's neither of those, this is just a circle. Look at it. No edges. On the steering wheel, again, we don't have anything. Not even an AMC logo or badge. Although up above it on the gear selector, we do get that torque command name, in case you forgot. Off to the left, I do have my headlights and wipers, as well as down below that, there's the brake release, and off to the right, that little black knob that actually opens an air vent under the dash to allow fresh air in. Moving on to the door, we do have our crank for the window and latch to get in and out, but that is it. Moving into the center, 2 climate control vents for the heat and our climate controls themselves, which again, AMC naming things random other things. They called this the weather eye. Not sure why, but here it is in the AMC. Then we have where a radio would be, but like I said, this has the factory radio delete. So that just means that you didn't pay for a radio back in the day, so they put this nice plastic cover over it just to make sure there's not a gaping hole in your dashboard. Then down below, we do have an ashtray and cigarette lighter, and I do want to take particular note of the cigarette lighter because it has never been used. Take a look at these coils, ladies and gentlemen. You don't see them in this condition anymore because everyone smoked in the 70s and used it, not the owner of this vehicle. Then I do get a little shelf, another openable black vent, and nothing running down the center of the vehicle besides a hump for the transmission. So unfortunately, it doesn't have any cup holders, so it fails the big friggin' bottle test. I could have told you that years ago. I do get lap belts, along with this is just like a nice, comfy blanket put over it. However, these are the original seats, and they actually are pretty comfortable. They have been very, very enjoyable here in the AMC Hornet. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting in the back is not glorious, but once I am back here, it's actually not bad. Very bouncy seats, of course, an ashtray over there, some little armrests. It's actually not terrible. I'm a bigger guy, and if I sit a little bit, more square on, I'm actually not touching anything besides the seat itself, which is really hard to say, not only for two-door cars, but two-door, more economy-oriented, more normal cars, I don't really fit in the back of very well. So I actually fit in the back of the AMC Hornet, and that is, well, shocking to say the least. Let's hop out, we'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Something I want to point out is that if you unscrew this, that is actually the gas cap, so pretty cool there. Coming into the back of the Hornet, not a ton of space, but this was a smaller vehicle, and so that is somewhat to be expected. Nothing really to note besides this. I love looking at the old diagrams. Absolutely love that here in the Hornet. So there's the trunk space. Nothing really to write home about, but I really didn't expect it to be, and I love this sound. Not that sound, geez. Nice solid close. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the look of this, mainly because it's an AMC, and I just don't deal with AMCs all that much. But I just love the simplicity of it, the basicness of it, and yet it still looks athletic and agile. It's not the most agile car in the world, but it doesn't look like one of those land barges that also came from the 70s. In this era, at least in my memory, AMC was a rather sporty, kind of a fun company. And so I think the AMC Hornet really does reflect that, and the Hornet name, makes you feel like it might sting you, and that's very fun to me. However, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving not only an AMC Hornet, but my first ever AMC? Well, first of all, it's been a lovely experience. This car drives great for what it is. If you can get over the over-exaggerated steering, you're actually probably gonna love it. But let's talk about AMC as a whole. What is AMC? Well, in order to understand that, you have to know about two companies, Nash and Hudson. They were American auto manufacturers from way back in the day. And entering the 1950s, they sort of stopped making money, these two companies. And so, like the residents of a nursing home, they banded together and formed AMC. This was in 1954, and they actually ended up lasting a full 30 years producing AMC cars until they were purchased by the Chrysler Corporation and slowly disbanded. But from AMC, we got the Jeep brand, which is still prominent here in today's society. We also got the Eagle brand based off of this, and a bunch of other cars. But AMC was literally a conglomerate of companies that couldn't stay afloat on their own, so they banded together like the Avengers to prevent their own decay. And it worked for a little while, but then it stopped working. What really did them in was the fuel crisis in the 70s, which happened the year of this car, 1973, and then again later in the 70s, mixed with a whole other bunch of reasons. Regular Car Reviews actually did an amazing video about AMC. I highly recommend checking that out. Nick did a fantastic job on that. But here we're driving in 1973, and this is a little bit before the lights started shutting off for AMC. They were still doing pretty well, and that's actually because of this car, the Hornet. At the time, when the Hornet was released, it became their best-selling passenger vehicle. This, with its brother, the Gremlin, they actually sold pretty well, and people were pretty happy with them. But by the end of the decade, they were outdated, they weren't great, and sales dropped off. So today I want to tip my cap and toast my glass to AMC, the American Motor Corporation, for being different, for fighting tooth and nail to try to keep these American brands going. The name Hornet of this car is actually taken from the Hudson Hornet back in the day, which you probably know from the movie Cars, but the fabulous Hudson Hornet. That's where this car gets its name, from those Hudson roots. I was so excited to share this important piece of automotive history with you today, let alone such an amazingly clean and well-kept one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Jacob for letting me take out his AMC. Jacob has been absolutely awesome to work with. He met me halfway out here in Oregon. Really, really appreciate it. And all I could say is just wow, wow, wow. This car is so clean. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.